A death that shocked the world and continues to bring attention to every new generation. From interest to mystery, her death has literally grabbed the world's attention, and many can't believe that it was a simple mistake. Everyone's favorite princess of Wales, Diana.
When no one listens to you, or you feel no one's listening to you, all sorts of things start to happen. For instance, you have so much pain inside yourself that you try and hurt yourself on the outside because you want help.
It's 1997, August of that year. The world is about to lose a culture icon that it loves and holds close to its heart, but believes there's mystery around her death. Diana is different when it comes to the look of the royal family. She's not only beautiful, but she's fashionable. Diana is also very hands-on in helping the ones that need help, putting herself in a bad spot that could be dangerous for her public look or her safety. But Diana's life would fall into place like this, and with time, start to not look like a happy ever after all. On the 24th of February, 1981, Diana would marry Prince Charles of Wales. Just a short time later, they would have 2 children from their marriage and be divorced by August of 1996. Much of Diana's life is consumed with being the wife of Prince Charles, but in 1992 they did separate and went about their own lives. After a long marriage that played a toll on Diana's emotions, Charles was known for having affairs and still with his old girlfriend, Camilla, that he always wanted to be with but was forced to marry Diana. Diana knew this, and being a woman of integrity, she would not turn an eye when it came to her future. This did not sit well with the Prince of Wales. It's safe to say, when Diana separated from Charles, the public took Diana's side, and honestly, she became an icon on top of what she already was. The world could just not simply get enough of Princess Diana. As Diana split from Charles in '92, this is where Diana's stock in the public would grow to unbelievable numbers, and for the first time, the world was really able to look into the royal family for the first time and see that it had problems like any other family. With the times of paparazzi and tabloid magazines, the split with Diana and Charles was the biggest public split in the history of marriages. From '92 to Diana's death, she would let it be known how she was treated and expected to act as a wife, and some might say, a prisoner in the marriage. To say the least, the world would meet the real Diana when she was free from her marriage. When Diana is free from the royal family, many elements will change with her. One of the biggest and noticeable is the look of Diana, but make no doubt about it, Diana still holds fashion in the highest regards. But now we see Diana as an ex-royal, dressing in workout clothes and just running errands, trying to build a life, a normal life. It's a first for the world to see Diana in looking this way. She's been hidden away as the Princess of Wales for many years. Diana's main goal that she wanted to do and accomplish. Now that she's not just traveling the world by her husband's side, how can she help people with her voice or with her hands? Diana's very passionate about this. She has a deep love for children that need help and love, as Diana builds a team to work with her. The one person that Diana is close with through her last years is her brother, Charles Spencer, who is with Diana her whole life and will also be a supporter for Diana to speak out. With Diana now living out her life, there is now one main worry that she has, and that's her children, her most passionate project. Diana made it known to Charles, while even in the marriage and out of it, that she did not want her boys raised by nannies. She wanted Charles and herself to have full hands on the kids, talking to them and raising them. Diana's concern with that is that nannies in the royal family have raised many of the royal kids. Charles would be standoffish, playing the part of royal, not getting too involved. This is something that Diana had concern with. Diana wanted to be with her boys as much as she could, and she did. Diana talks about her boys in many interviews, just bringing them up organically, of her love for them. Make no doubt about it, Diana is a mother above all else. On the other side of the hill, the royal family is very quiet about the subject of Diana and Charles. The world is striving for whispers of what the Queen Mother thinks of the situation of the split with Diana and Charles. Because it's no secret that Diana has done the one thing a royal is not allowed to do: separate from their marriage. 1994 was a big year for Charles, but not in a good way. In January of 94, Charles was in Australia talking to a crowd. While doing this, a man would walk up to the right of the stage, pull out a gun, and fire at Charles. But luckily, Charles would be unwounded by the attempt. In that same year, Charles would go on to give his side of the story in a long documentary called The Private Man. The documentary is 2.5 hours long, trying to make Charles look like a hero, relatable, like a king, respectable. But somehow, in the documentary, it will come through that Charles will give his side of the story of Diana in the smallest detail. To the surprise of many, Charles will admit that he cheated on Diana once he realized he just couldn't make it work, explaining it in his own way. Diana will say that she knew Charles and Camilla were having an affair, and that she confronted Camilla about this one day in private. Diana said she found Charles and Camilla alone one day with another person. She did not know who they were. Diana said she was terrified of Camilla because she knew there was a secret between them. She said that Camilla told her, "You've got everything you've ever wanted. All the men in the world fall in love with you. You've got 2 beautiful children. What more do you want?" Diana said, "I want my husband." Camilla just looked down the whole time at Diana's feet. Diana would just simply reply to Camilla, "I'm sorry I'm in the way. I'm obviously in the way, and it must be hell for the both of you. But I do know what's going on, so don't treat me like an idiot." This was a turning point for Diana. She would say this about the talk she had with Camilla, how she felt after it. "My husband was over me, like a bad rash. I cried like I never cried before. It was anger. It was 7 years of pent-up anger coming out. I cried and I cried and I cried. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I woke up and I felt different. A shift, a tremendous shift. I'd done something, said what I felt, still the old jealousy, anger, swelling around, but it wasn't so deathly as it had been. I said to Charles 3 days later, "Oh darling, I'm sure you'll want to know what I said to Camilla. There's no secret. You may ask her. I just said I love you. There's nothing wrong in that." As Diana continues to build her life and brand who she is, there's no doubt there's a divide, the royal family and then Diana. It feels as though there's almost 2 kingdoms, but it seems to be where the majority of the people are is in Diana's view. With Diana now entering the last few years of her life, she's doing more interviews, more public speaking, and is much more open about her feelings about the royal family, and Charles for that matter. As Diana finds herself in 1997, she's done well for herself, and is in no doubt a household name at this point. Still to this day, with one of the biggest secrets in Diana's life is that of her love life, apart from Charles. There's many different men that Diana is rumored to have dated, most leading to just whispers. But there is one that we know is 100% true that Diana hid from the world. From 1995 to 97, just months before her death, Diana had dated a heart surgeon named Hasnat Khan. When Diana is visiting hospitals frequently, talking to the staff, visiting with children, she would run across Khan. Khan did not even pay attention to Diana when she walked by him. She saw him, but Diana said he treated her normal, which was unordinary in Diana's life. People knew her face, and they treated her different for it. Diana would pursue the doctor, even visiting the hospital 3 more times that week to get to know Khan, and eventually start a relationship. Diana would keep the relationship extremely private because in the early 90s, she was still married to Charles. But as they dated all the way to 97, the two would eventually hit a wall in their relationship where they wanted to be public, but it could not happen with Diana living in Europe, still around her boys, doing her public duties, and Khan was a very private man, and they knew if it ever came out, they would be harassed by the paparazzi and tabloids. It said that Khan wanted Diana to move to India with him to live their life, but Diana said she couldn't leave her children, and for that reason, their relationship came to an end. But July of 1997, Diana would not be hiding her new boyfriend and having a long vacation in just days before she would be gone forever. Diana's new boyfriend is Dodi Fayed, who was a film producer in Egypt and the son of a billionaire. The two had not been together long, but long enough to catch the attention of the royal family. As for Diana's new boyfriend, Fayed, he was already known in the world of media from his past relationships from famous women in Hollywood. What makes this so interesting is that it's no secret in Diana's life. When she does anything, it's still attached to the royal family, good or bad. Now that Diana is having a very open relationship for the first time, it's sending shockwaves across the media. It's rumored that the Queen is not happy, especially with what's coming next. Diana in July will have a long vacation in the south of France. It's her last summer enjoying the sun. The group of people that are there are close friends, bodyguards, Diana, Dodi, and her children. While Diana is enjoying her life, the paparazzi are having a feeding frenzy, getting every moment they can. Diana's vacation is being broadcast on magazines and television while she's on it. It's the first time the world has seen Diana in a bikini with a stranger who they don't know, who might be her first relationship they have seen since Charles. When the vacation ends, Diana goes back to her life. The last few weeks Diana has to live, she's all over the tabloids because of her new love interest, and once again is holding up the news from anything else. It's August 30th, 1997. Diana has come to Paris to see her new boyfriend, Dodi Fayed. On this day, the two would run around Paris, from Fayed's home to the Ritz hotel his father owned. But late into that night, around 9:50 p.m. on August 30th, they go back to the Ritz hotel to have dinner. One last time. The two were tired and had been harassed all day from the paparazzi. They stayed in the hotel for a while eating, enjoying each other's company, talking about their future. Diana is said to have an omelet that night. They head into their private room, alone, to have their last moments away from the world. When they come out of their room, they have changed clothes and are waiting in the lobby, right outside their room, for the go to head downstairs into their vehicle. Around midnight, they will leave with Diana's bodyguard and their driver. They're trying to go back to Fayed's home, but they will never make it. Dodi's security setting up a fake car up front and telling people that Diana will be coming out of the front of the Ritz any moment now. But to no one's knowledge, Dodi has the Mercedes coming around back to pick them up and drive away at the same time as the car up front. We see something very special in these last moments right here with the four of these people. For three of them, it's their last moments alive. We see Diana and Dodi holding hands, holding each other, fingers interlaced, just wanting to go back home, be alone, away from the world. As the Mercedes pulls up, they will walk to it and get inside. It's not long before they are spotted and being chased by the paparazzi on scooters. It's late at night, and it's said that Mr. Paul, the driver, has even had a few drinks from the bar at the Ritz and will also take a route that does not make a lot of sense. And people today are still skeptic of why he went the way he did. But just down the road, not far from Dodi's home, they head into the tunnel that they will never come out of or make it past Pillar 13. When we talk about the actual crash itself, there are a few different scenarios that people tell to this day that still seem to be most likely, in some evidence, by skim marks to make sense. The one that is most believed is that the Mercedes-Benz was going over the speed limit anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour, swerving cars and trying to get away from the paparazzi. But as they make their way to the tunnel, the driver, Mr. Paul, will swerve a vehicle, even hitting it, taking out the taillight, and is believed to catch air going down into the tunnel, swerving, hitting the wall, and then crashing right into Pillar 13 at a very fast speed. with no one wearing seatbelts except the bodyguard in the front passenger seat, who will live. Mr. Paul, the driver, will die immediately. Dodie is believed to have died instantly as well. Diana and the bodyguard will be the only ones alive when they are found. Just by chance or coincidence, it brings up many conspiracy theories. Many of the street cameras have just been turned off an hour before the crash, to where nothing of the wreck has been videotaped. Right after the crash, vehicles will stop. One in particular is a French doctor who will jump out of his own vehicle coming from a late night party, run over to the Mercedes-Benz, not knowing who is inside. He says he can see that the driver is obviously deceased, and the man in the back seat behind him is deceased as well. He says that the front passenger male is alive, moving and moaning heavily, and he also can tell that there's a female in the back seat who he's trying to help. He says that she's on her knees, pinned down, moaning, coming to, and saying she's in pain. He said that the lady, who the doctor is still unaware who it is, lifted her head just enough to see and look at the men around her that were hurt or deceased. Diana would say this one last thing while she could. "Oh my God, what has happened?" She's scared and confused, in pain, not knowing why, and slowly slipping away. When help arrives, but at a slow pace due to traffic, they eventually get Diana out of the vehicle and to the hospital, where she is fading fast. She had massive chest injuries, and her heart is off beat. Diana will be worked on for 2 hours, but her heart will not survive, and Diana, the princess, will be pronounced gone a little after 4:40 a.m. on August 30th, 1997. The news is breaking in the morning immediately that Diana has been in a car wreck and is already pronounced deceased. And on top of that, Dodie has passed away as well. From this moment on, there's a divide down the middle of people that believe there was an accident and people that believe maybe it wasn't an accident. It's still under high scrutiny till this day. Many do believe that it was a simple accident, and many believe there's something more going on here. Many people believe, due to Diana having such an open relationship with Dodie Fayed, that the royal family was not happy with this. It wasn't a good look. There are many elements that just don't add up. One being, why did Mr. Paul take such a weird way when he had a straight path to Dodie's apartment, cutting the trip in half and making it so much simpler, other than maybe he thought he could lose the paparazzi. Another big problem is that it's quite unbelievable that none of the traffic cameras in a major city like Paris were on at the time of the crash. In the end, no one will really be held accountable for the crash. 7 paparazzi that were chasing the Mercedes will be arrested and their scooters will be impounded. But this is as far as the investigation will go when it comes to authorities digging into more of what could have happened. Dodie's father would spend many years trying to dig up any piece of information he could about the crash, people, or anything that was just missing on what really happened. But like most of the roads, we're left with unknown answers. Diana's funeral will be held on September 6, 1997. It will be one of the biggest events in human history and television. Still to this day, bringing in 2.5 billion viewers from across the world. In the crowd, someone can be spotted, Hasnat Khan, Diana's old boyfriend, there showing his respects and deeply saddened himself just months before coming out of a relationship with Diana. When we look at Diana's funeral, people are visibly shaken, crying. It's one time in the world where everyone is sharing the same sorrow at the exact same time in the world, of the loss of just one human being. Before Diana would be put in her casket, she spent time in a little room with her brother. She was propped on a bed before she was to be put in her casket. Her brother said she just looked like she was asleep. Diana had no visible face injuries causing mass damage. She was simply beautiful, even in death. When Diana's casket goes by the royal family, the Queen will simply acknowledge Diana, giving her the nod. This is a gesture people were not sure they would see from the Queen. When Diana's funeral is over, she will be taken out of the church, placed in a car, and drove back through town. As the car is going through the town, people are simply just throwing flowers on it, crying and yelling Diana, It's something that we really haven't seen in recorded history, such a mass scale, still, even to this day. From here, Diana will be taken to her resting spot on her family estate that she grew up on, as Diana's casket is led to her own island to where she will be buried, her resting spot, a man-made lake with its own island. Inside Diana's casket, she's wearing a new black dress she bought herself just weeks prior. She's holding a set of rosemary beads in her hands that were given to her by Mother Teresa when they met. Mother Teresa herself would pass away the day before Diana's funeral. The last goodbyes are said, and she's laid to rest. The reason for Diana being on this huge estate, Spencer, Diana's brother, was worried about people messing with her grave, and he had right to. Over the years, many grave robbers have tried their best to break into Diana's resting spot, but have failed because of the hard terrain and landscape of the location. When we find ourselves at the end of Diana's life, we see someone bigger than any musician, movie star. She's simply loved for just being herself and trying to do good for people, and simply standing up for herself in a marriage that was forced on her. She leaves behind 2 sons that have now made her a grandmother, but what we're left with in the end is an icon, a person that history will always cherish and always talk about, and that is Princess Diana, the people's princess forever.